What's going on, guys? The last time I was using my Cub Cadet over at the land, I actually hit a couple of mole holes and it bogged my deck down, and then all of a sudden after that it started making a clattering noise. So I shut the thing down. I pulled it up on my trailer, kind of partially on the ramps where I could get up underneath the deck, because I thought, honestly, the sound it was making, I thought a piece of wire had wrapped up around the blade and was hitting the deck or something. So I pulled it up on my ramps, inspected everything, and I didn't find any problem with wire or anything like that, you know, random pieces of barbed wire or something like that that you might find out on an old farmstead. Anyway, what I found was when I reach underneath the deck and I move the blade, hopefully you're seeing that, this top spindle here, and both of them are doing it, but this spindle is moving quite a bit. So I don't know if something is broken loose, if a bolt is broken, or if the deck, the hole that it goes through, is rotted or rusted out or something. I don't really know what the deal is. I'm gonna have to pull it out to check it out. But on today's video, I wanted to show you, it's not very hard to take the deck off of these lawnmowers. First thing we're gonna have to do is right up here near the front, there's a bracket right here that retains the mower deck belt. So this right here, I don't think you'll be able to get that off unless you take this bracket off. So we're gonna have to take this bracket off. It only has one bolt. In the other side, it actually goes through the frame. A little stub sticks through the frame. And so we're just gonna have to take this one bolt out. It's an 8mm. So let's go ahead and get that loose. And we'll get that out of the way where we won't lose it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is pull this through, but we're going to want to make sure and pay attention to where this is located. Now you can see the frame is a little bit dirty, so as I pull this out, it'll show me on this side. But on the other side, you need to make sure and get into the same hole. I'll go around there and show you real quick. Okay, so now we're on the other side of the mower, the left-hand side, and you can see this pin right here sticking through. And just to make my life easier, I'm going to mark that so that I'll remember where to put that back in, because if you get it out of alignment, the belt may rub or something like that. We don't want that. So, all right, next up, it's unpin the deck. So one of the things that I don't like about the design of this mower are these shrouds. They get packed full of stuff and I can't ever clean that out. So I may leave them off because they're really just a safety thing to keep people from getting their foot hung up in there when the deck is running and everything. And you know, that's not really an issue for me. So I think it might actually make the longevity of the spindles longer if this bracket wasn't in the way, all full of stuff like this. So I may leave these off. The other thing I thought about is cutting or drilling a hole in here where I'd be able to, you know, blast some water pressure or some air pressure or something up through there and get this crud out of here, because all you have are these two little slots, and no matter what, this thing is always packed full of grass, and I don't like that. The other thing I may do while I have this all apart is I may install some grease zerks in here so that I can you know, if my bearings are good on these spindles, if I install the grease zerks, it's kind of a process, but if we do that, I'll show you how it's done. But for this video, let's just take the deck off and get into that. We'll be inspecting everything once we get it all out where we can look at it. And I should point out, I've got this thing lowered down almost all the way. What I did was I lowered it down until the deck wheels were sitting on the concrete flat, and then I found the spot where there's not any tension on it, because if it has tension on it, either way, it's going to make this job harder. So I just found a spot where it's kind of relaxing there. You know, there's no weight pulling it down. I think you guys can see that well enough there. While these clips are weird looking, a little bit goofy, they're actually pretty cool. Let's pull that through where we can get to it. And we're going to pull down on this and kind of push through at the same time. And just like that, that comes off. Put your pin somewhere where you won't lose it. And we should be able to pop that right out. Now, if you were going to drive this around without the deck on, you'd want to take this out just so you don't hang up on something or bend this rod or something like that. Wouldn't be a good deal for you. So let's move to the back. We'll do those. All right, trying to get you guys in here where you can see what I'm working on. This is the clip here that you need to take out for the back part of the deck. So I'm gonna have to lay down on my side and try not to bump the camera. But it's basically the same as the front. Okay, again, save your clip somewhere, set it to the side. Up on the floorboards is where I like to set it. So now we should be able to pop this out. And you may have to lift up just a little bit on the deck. Okay, so now just to keep these out of the way, I'm going to slide them up like this, up on top of those studs, just to keep them out of my way for now. So we're going to go around to the other side and do the exact same thing. I'm not going to bore you with that. When we come back here in a second, we'll be disconnecting the PTO cable. That's what makes the deck turn on and spin the blade. So that'll be the last thing, but we'll have to slide the deck out this way a little bit, I think, to get to it. So let me go around and do that, and then we'll come right back. All right, we got the other side unclipped, and just to make my life a little easier, I'm going to go ahead and pull this handle back, and there is some spring tension on it. We're just going to pull it back and let it go right there. And what that did was it just pulled those bars up out of my way, and so that should help me with the next part. Okay, so and one thing I forgot to do here is go ahead and pull this bar out and just spin it out of the way. And you could just set this, if you're just putting the deck right back on, you could just set this down below. And then we're going to disconnect this belt here, just so it makes it easier for us to move the deck out. All right. So this next part, I'm going to move the deck out this way a little, and I'm paying attention not to damage my cable here. I don't want to hurt anything. Right back here is another one of those clips, and this one's the hardest one to get off. So what we've got to do is remove this clip here. Let me see if I can get it back into, no, that's not the way. Okay, so this clip was a little bit wonky in there and I had to spin it around. Okay, so let me see if I can do this with my left hand while holding the camera in frame with my right. And try not to bust my knuckles here. Okay, wasn't so bad. All right, sometimes those can be a real problem. So now what we're going to do is just overcome the spring tension there. It's not a whole lot, and we're going to pull this back. And get it to go through here like that. Okay, so now that we've got that slack, we should be able to pull it out this way a little bit more and get the last connection loose. Okay, again, we're just watching our cable. We don't want our cable to get bound up or get stretched or anything like that. So, see if I can set you right here. Need to prop you up a little bit here. Okay. Hopefully you can see that well enough. Get some more light on it. Probably too much. Okay, that might work. All right, now we should be able to just pop this guy right out, but it's kind of in a little bit of a bind there, so we may have to use our, oh shit. That's how it goes. You get the perfect setup with your GoPro, and then you bump it, and that's all it takes. Knock it out of frame. So okay, it's not going real easy, and I know one other way to do it is try to get this. You basically have to push back on this like that, and there's a thinner side on this other side of the slot here, and so when it's on that thinner side, it'll come right out. So we'll just move that aside somewhere, where hook it onto something where it won't be in your way. Okay, now I can let that tension off, and now the deck is free. Getting my tools out of the way. Extra clip there. And now we should be able to slide this deck right out. I'm hanging up on that front bar over there. Well, I should have left myself a little more room, but we'll make do. All right, and that's how you remove the deck on a Cub Cadet LT46. So in the next video, we'll diagnose this and figure out what went wrong. But yeah, just look how that grass gets bound up in there like that. I don't like that. I'm thinking a lot about taking these off and just leaving them off. Because again, I think it's just a safety Sally thing, so I'm not going to stick my hand or my foot down there with this thing spinning around. How about you? All right, guys, so I appreciate you tuning in. Hope this helps you out with your job. Until then, we'll see you next time.